to a very special episode of That Kingsville Podcast. We're live on location at Colasanti Tropical Farms. We have very special guests, Anna Marie Nada and Joe Colasanti. Thank you very much for inviting us here tonight.
Brothers and sisters.
Yes, brothers and sisters, Anna Marie and Colasanti at one point in time. So thanks very much for having us here on the show.
Our pleasure.
We've been featuring local prominent people within the town of Kingsville over the past few seasons, and it wouldn't be right if we didn't come and talk to the Colasantis about Colasanti Tropical Gardens, because it's just been such a fixture throughout our town for decades. So again, thank you very much for having us here.
So
Where do you start?
Where do you start? Yeah.
For like just looking around this place without people in it is kind of surreal. I know obviously for you guys it's you see it every day, but being here and not seeing the crowds and the people is weird. It's been a fixture of Kingsville for so long. Whoever wants to take it, where did it start? Like where did everything begin for the farm?
Okay. My dad purchased 20 acres of land in 1940, and he paid for $11,500, right?
$11,500.
And
He
it
put
took him, 2 or 3 years to pay off the whole mortgage.
well, he put him and our mom saved $3,500 as a deposit, and then they were given 10 years to pay off the balance of $8,000 in increments of $800 a year. And they worked hard.
Yeah.
My parents did, plus I wasn't here yet. And my brothers, two of my brothers, because our third brother was not old enough to work in the field, but they worked really hard. And in 3 years, they raised and earned enough money to pay off the balance of the mortgage. And by October of 1943, deed free and clear, they owned it. And then it started. That's when it started.
Now there was a little bit going on in the world around 1940 to 43. You don't hear a lot of people, during the middle of World War II starting in businesses and able to pay off farms.
Well, going back to the first day I stepped foot on this place, we've got a picture here. I always, in my mind, thought I remembered my dad driving up the road. He'd stop in front of this house. And then I remembered walking through weeds instead of a lawn. And one day, a few years ago, 6 or 8 years ago, this thing appeared. How, why, when, and where, I don't know, but it's a perfect picture of the house in those days. And it did prove that there was nothing but weeds in the front yard. So that was my first day.
First memory of the house. And that's the house that Joe and Vera live in today still.
But it's been remodeled.
Yeah. Renovated and lifted up. And
I guess figuring I must have been around 7 years old. And so I remember when my mother and dad would get up and go to work, they'd call my brother and myself. And we'll be right there. So we got halfway to the field. We went up on the barn, up in the haystack, and fell asleep in the haystack. So they couldn't
right
find
from
us.
get-go.
Yeah.
What'd you guys grow?
When he first came on the property, he grew field corn and tobacco. And I remember with the field corn, you would, like today, they're planted 6 inches apart. In those days, you planted one here and one there, 3 feet. And we would go and cut the stalks and then stoke them, like make a big bundle.
Yeah.
And then in the wintertime, when you weren't busy, you started pulling the corn cobs off one at a time. Contrary to today, they got a 35-foot swath machine goes down and does it all one. So we had to pull them off one at a time. And the tobacco, we would strip tobacco in the morning because you had to do it when it was still kind of moist. And then in the afternoon, we all went on hunting.
Just get covered in corn rash.
Yeah. No, at the time, I wasn't very fond of going to school. So when the neighbor, he would come up at 7 o'clock in the morning and say to my mother, "Hey, Emma, can Joe come and drive boat today? I'll be right there." That's driving the tobacco boat up and down the roads.
Mhm.
So I thought I preferred doing that than going to school. And there's also, I remember my brother and I, there used to be an old fish guy come out to the farm only on Fridays with a horse and buggy selling fish. And then we would ride back to school with him with his wagon. Those were days to remember.
How long did you guys do field crops?
We built the first greenhouse in I think it was 1945. And I'll never forget because I was just a little guy pushing a cement wheelbarrow up, pouring cement when I should have been out playing with the other kids. And that was the first one he built. Now, that year, the tomatoes and cucumbers were running at $15, $20 a basket and a dozen. I remember the first case of celery. My dad grew 120,000 heads of celery. And I still remember him pushing that little fertilizer machine up and down the rows. We cut the first case of celery at $64 in 1945. So he made enough money that year. He paid for the greenhouse, the boiler room,
Yeah.
all in 1 year. But then somebody woke up one day and said, "You know what? Only the very rich can afford to buy this produce," because Canada had an embargo on U.S. stuff. So they took the embargo off, then the prices went down back to normal.
That price is wild.
Well, just from 1 year, one season.
One season.
Yeah.
Then it went back to normal, and
But it launched the growth of the farm without
Yeah.
being able to buy all the
exactly.
equipment.
Yeah.
So
Now, growing in a greenhouse back then is a little different, though. You're still working dirt. You just happen to be covered, right?
Yeah.
But they still had they had built the first couple of greenhouses, but they still had the field crops. I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
lettuce
We
and
did both.
watermelon, and he had that
Spanish
out there.
onions. We had Spanish onions 1 year with 64 onions in the bag. They're humongous.
Wow.
And 1 year, my brother and I used to go to the fishery with a pickup and load with when they cleaned all the fish. And so we would come to the greenhouse, open the doors, pick up in reverse, back up like hell and put the brakes on and slush. We didn't have to shovel one fish.
convenience,
Just
yeah,
genius.
efficiency.
And we also started putting fish stuff in the fields. Then one spring we grew field cucumbers, and we had the white plastic over top. And we were picking cucumbers on the 6th of June. I'll never forget, it was the Queen's coronation.
Mhm.
And we couldn't figure out how come we're picking cucumbers that early in the season under the cover. So we tried it again the following year, and it didn't work. Apparently what happened, the fish got full of maggots, and maggots turned into flies, and the flies pollinated the flowers. Just like that. That was,
Innovation at an early.
There you go.
yeah, that was one and only time.
Yeah.
But it worked. Unknowingly, it worked.
So
Yeah.
how long were the working days? I mean, you were up, crack of dawn, working till
Usually
dusk? Or?
Usually get up around 6.
Yeah.
And then go out until dark. I remember when we had the peach crop was on and the produce, there was a company from London, Siegel Fruit Company.
Mhm.
They would come down with a truck at around 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. And then my brother and I would jump in the truck after we had our tomato fight between us and the truck driver.
You gotta have some
It gets
fun.
better.
You gotta have some fun.
We had a couple of piles of tomatoes ready, and when that was gone, then we'd jump in the truck. We'd go up in the 5th concession and load up peaches. And I remember 1 or 2 nights, we had the semi was full, but there was still stuff left over. So what did we do? We had a steak truck. We threw stuff in the steak truck and we followed him to London. So and most nights we were eating supper. My wife would make supper at 2 o'clock in the morning. and the food inspectors were with us. So
And then
So
we put in a few extra hours.
you had the peaches.
That-
We had the orchards too, the peach orchards too.
Yeah, well, that's what we put with the fruit.
Oh, and
Yeah, the orchards were going to London, and we've always maintained to produce a good quality product. Our peaches always went into the nose of the truck, so that nobody else could grab it, only for their special customers. So we did it then, and we're still doing it today. We're trying to get good quality product.
Yeah, top product.
That goes a long way.
What anytime a farm makes a big decision, like starting to put up a greenhouse or changing crops, it's usually there's a story behind it. What made your dad want to start putting up greenhouses?
Well, I guess that was the thing to do. Like, we were one of the first ones to build a first greenhouse. I think Joe DeLalos was the first. And what I liked about those days, everybody came and gave you a hand. When you were building a greenhouse or whatever, a house, whatever, they all came and helped out. So my dad had a little greenhouse, a tropical greenhouse, where he grew some bananas and oranges and lemons and stuff. And we had a fruit stand, and we were selling cider and donuts at the fruit stand. And we would have buses that would go to Kingsville before the pavilion, lakeside, the pavilion burned down. They go there for lunch, and then they come here after and get their cider and donuts. And then we had a tractor with a little wagon, and we pile the people on the wagon and just bring them down to see my dad's tropical greenhouse. And then down the road, this guy from Dundas, Ontario, bought the greenhouses next door, and he grew cactus and tropical plants. So he would come over and say, "No, you guys are nuts growing vegetables when you can be growing cactus and tropical plants and making more money." So one day he comes over with these seedlings, the pots and the soil. He said, "Put this together, and we're going to go to the state fair in Detroit." So we did. We went there, and we picked up quite a bit of interest with the Americans. And then they started coming over, and as we saw the more customers coming, we went from one greenhouse, we started up another greenhouse, and then eventually there's a outfit called Frank's Nursery. I think they're gone now, but the managers started coming over buying cactus and tropical plants. And also we had, my son was old enough, him and I think, was it Jay? Where the hell did he go?
Of all the moments to leave.
Was you and Jay doing the sample truck?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, then my son Terry and Jake, my nephew, we had a truck that we would call it the sample truck. They go around and hit all the Frank's Nursery stores, and they were buying like crazy. I remember one kid from Lansing would come in every Friday and load up a little Volkswagen bus. And the cactus business just grew like crazy. And then people started coming over, and then we got into the retail part of it. And it just kept mushrooming.
Is that original tropical greenhouse still up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all still here.
Is it like one of the ones that we walk through?
There's been some work done on the inside. Like right now, my grandson's doing quite a bit of work, making some big changes.
That's
Lee Colasanti. We're into the fourth generation now, eh?
Wow.
so. This is the first generation
Mm-hmm.
with in their new greenhouse, and our mother was raised in Detroit, so city girl comes to the farm wearing her faux fur.
Yeah.
And,
I just brings back memories of a story when they were in Kingsville before they moved here. One day my dad said to my mother, "Look, the potatoes are ready. We can have potatoes for supper." So he's having supper, and all of a sudden, "Where's the potatoes?" "I don't know. I looked all over the farm. I can't find the potatoes." So he took her out and they went and pulled the planted potatoes out. He said, "See, they grow on the bottom, not on the top." Yeah.
They don't have many potato plants in the city.
No,
Not a lot of
no,
potato
exactly, right? They come in bags.
But about what year did this cactus and tropical plant business start to take off?
But I think about the mid 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, around the mid 70s.
And this is really kind of the start of the tropical gardens that
Yeah.
we've kind of
Yeah.
grown up with.
The people coming in, and then we
One house at a time, like one greenhouse.
just
Right.
did one at a time. So when we got to the big range here, we got into selling jams and jellies on top of a picnic table. And so that was the start of the food business, I think. And then I had a stove back here, one of those old stoves where when you're cooking on the stove, you could put a ham in the top and it would cook. So a guy come up to me one day from the Heritage Society, the Tractor Club. He said, "Joe, do you think you can cook some food up for 6 of us?" I said, "I don't know." Right here I was making chili with this old stove. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah.
I was making chili that day, and so I did it. It turned out okay. And somehow there's this restaurant around the corner called
The Hilltop.
the Hilltop Restaurant.
Yeah.
And it burned down. And he was selling roasted chicken. He had the sole thing for all of Ontario. So
The
6
franchise.
months, 6 months after they burned down, he come over and said, "Look, Bill's not going to go back in the business. We wonder if you'd like to take it over." And I said, "Oh, how much is the machine?" "Oh, $10,000. Now we're never going to pay for it." So we missed that year. We missed the next year. Then the following year, we were at a trade show in Toronto. And the guy was there and he said, I guess he woke up. He said, "You know what? I've got a machine sitting in the shop that is supposed to go to Quebec. I bring it down and your place and you can just try it out." I think we had it for 15 or 18 years. Now we've got 12 machines.
Yeah.
So, and it's very popular only because we're doing the right thing. There's a procedure to follow, and we do every step the way we're supposed to, and that's why the chicken tastes the way that it does.
It's really one of many reasons why we remember Colasanti's from childhood through events and birthdays and just socializing as a community was over Colasanti's dinners, right? With the chicken and of course the peach drink and the donuts. So you mentioned cider and donuts earlier at the roadside stand.
We were making that when my brother and I used to take a wagon and walk down to Jack Miner's with cider and donuts and ears of cobs of corn to sell to the people that would feed the geese. So we were in business when we were little kids.
Very entrepreneurial.
There we go.
Yeah.
So how are you making those donuts back then?
Pardon?
How are you making the donuts back then?
Well, with the machine similar to this, but this is all automatic. This one here, the donuts drop, they go down and they flip over, and then it comes out. It's all timed. Those days you had to know how to be a baker. You had to crank them out one at a time, and then you had to know when to flip them over, and then when to take them out. So today it's pretty simple. You just once it's set, you just let it go by itself.
Back then you needed a little know-how. Like there was a little work to it.
Yeah, back then my daughter, the two daughters were working in the restaurant, and Terry was with the plants. Sonny, he was a vagabond, right? he was. I think he worked at Point Pelee National Park. He was all over the country. So.
He eventually bought Blondies. You're talking about Sonny.
Yeah.
Yeah. He eventually bought Blondies and
Yeah.
I've often wondered, have you ever taken a vacation? And if you have, are you the type of person that really needs your family to say, "Dad, Grandpa, you need to take a vacation"? Or was, the majority of your time spent devoted to The business.
Well, we used to go to Mexico in the wintertime for a week, 10 days, whatever,
Okay.
or 8 days, and then go back again to Vegas to a pizza trade show. And that was our vacation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
There's donuts to make.
As if even on vacation, there's business business ties.
Donuts don't make
yeah.
themselves.
No.
Well, they do now.
Yeah. It's automatic machine.
Yeah.
I guess Vegas is not the same as it was used to be.
A lot of things aren't the same as they used to be.
Yeah.
No.
Right? And
Yeah.
Colasanti through the years has evolved as well too. So I want to go back to a couple of things that I remember as a childhood and being significant. And first and foremost, I was born in the early '80s, and one of the first memories I have is getting headbutted by a goat in the petting zoo.
Yeah.
And there's pictures. My mom has pictures. And remember this, David? So between plants and food, where did the goats come into this whole picture?
Well, we always had animals from when we were kids growing up. We had goats, horses, all kinds of stuff, and so the kids grew up with animals. All
Back way before that, I remember being a little kid, and you and Ronnie built me a little wagon, and with
Yeah.
the two wheels in the back, and they hooked it up to a goat, and the goat would pull me around the yard in this little wagon.
Yeah.
Use what you got.
Yeah, but they had to make a minor adjustment.
But then we noticed that the kids enjoyed the animals, so we expanded on it, and we kind of watched to see what people wanted. I remember Terry and I went to where was that? Where did we go for the golf, Terry? New Jersey. To look at a company about putting a golf course in. We needed something for, we thought, the teenage group. So we went to look at this. Orlando. Was it Orlando? Oh yeah, the trade show. People were at the trade show. And we picked out the people that we wanted to work with, and we went down to see their place, and we ended up with a golf course. And then I remember seeing little kids sitting on the stone over here with their a hand in it, facing their hands, and they needed something to do. Then we fought these little electric train. So we did that for the little kids. We kind of, and we're still doing it today. I know where there's stuff being done today because my grandson Lee, he saw things and that he's putting into practice now.
You talk about thinking about having stuff for kids, having stuff for teens. Farmers don't typically think that way. Like you're thinking about, whether or not the sun's out, what type of fertilizer you got to put on the plants.
I guess.
And you didn't take an education, a formal education in that sort of thing. How do you get there?
As a matter of fact, personally, I hated school with a passion.
Right.
I got as far as grade 10. I started grade 11, and I went to my guidance teacher, and I said to, "Hey, teach, what do you think I should do with my life?" He shakes his head and he says, "Joe, you're too stupid to stay in school." So, but he said they're building a new ag school in Ridgetown. So I went there for 2 winters, and I learned more. We had no teachers. So I have a certificate that says I graduated from a school. It was guys that worked on an experimental farm were our teachers. So I got a lot just by talking to the other guys, learned how to weld. My brother and I did all these big piping in here ourselves. I remember when we had to bring these big boilers in, we just took pipes and just rolled these great big 20-ton boilers in like they were a wagon. And I remember one time, I forget what the year it was, probably around 1960 or so, bank manager come in, we're walking through the greenhouse, and we opened the back door, his eyeballs pop out. He said, "What the hell is this?" I said, "Well, we forgot to tell you we had to build a new boiler room and put a boiler in, and it's here now."
It's
I
here
remember
now.
that.
If you don't want to hear, you can take it. You have to carry it out.
Yeah, it's all yours.
Yeah.
No, that was
To the kids, to the idea of the kids, I think it's always been, well, the farm was full of kids to begin with, because everybody lived on the farm. Was mom and dad and us, and then they got married. Ronnie got married, like Joe got married, Ronnie got married, Sonny got married, and all of the kids everybody lived on the farm.
the kids had a real good growing up together.
And and it was always, everybody's house was each other's house. He was like a dad to his nieces and nephews and vice versa, so, and built-in babysitter. And so it was there was always kids around, and it was just the love of having kids around, right? And Grandma's house was always full. The kids would just walk in, "Hey, Grandma, you got any cookies?" And it was just that atmosphere of the kids. So it was like, they just enjoyed. My brothers would build this little cement swimming pool for the kids to have. It was 2 feet deep, but just something for them to remember it over by the barn, and a swing set. And they were always building everything by hand for the kids. And then I think that evolved into just, we've got to do things for the community kids, right? It just, everything was for the kids. My parents loved kids. They loved kids. It's just, it just kind of grew from there, the passion to do something for the kids, because you could see their eyes light up when you did something for them.
Well, I know we growing in grade school, one of the things we always look forward to were the dances.
The teen dances,
because part of it too is, you had, guys who played hockey, they could interact with, kids from other schools. But those of us, it was a chance to meet new people. And
I remember we would have a mess of 350 kids here.
How many?
350.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the place was a disaster when they got done. But you know what? We cleaned up and we waited for the next month.
Yeah. And then the next morning, open operations, and sell plants, and the petting zoo, and the restaurant, right?
Yeah.
So were they? Was the dance your idea? Was that another one that for the kids, or was it? Was that spurred on by the family?
I don't know how that started, but whether Terry, Joanne, or whatever, somehow we got started with these dances.
Do you remember who approached you?
I don't remember how it started.
No, it just...
All of a sudden there was kids here.
No, but they were hugely popular, because I remember the chaos of trying to get out of the park. Like, obviously I wasn't driving, still 14, but my dad would come and pick a bunch of us up. And, the chaos of trying to get out was a little bit of the added fun to the evening.
Right.
Yeah. No, it was just something that I guess we figured that let's do something for the kids. They need something to do.
And that was exactly it. Like Steve mentioned, there was Jack Minor Public School, Kingsville Public, St. John de Burgos, even Leamington students, Ruthven students.
From every school was here.
And sure enough, when we ended up going to Kingsville High School, we'd meet these people that we'd met at the dances. And I have very significant memories about some of those nights and just how fun it was, because it was something to do that was safe, that my parents would allow me to do, and because we wouldn't get into trouble here at Colasanti. I wouldn't. I don't know about you, Steve. I wouldn't. But like, again, from being small children and having those experiences, I have to ask, there was a giant cactus for years and years and years.
Yeah.
That had to have predated the farm. Was that the first cactus that you guys planted when the neighbor? Because that thing was enormous, or at least as a small child.
We brought that one in from Arizona.
Did you?
Yeah. And we had to build another opening in the greenhouse to get it in. It lasted a few years, and then it kind of passed away, and we got another one. Then we finally realized that, and if you ever notice, saguaro cactus will only grow in Arizona at a certain altitude. So and I talked to a guy from the States. He said, "Joe, forget it, because you'll never get it to stay."
He tried.
Yeah, unless you start a little seedling, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's like moving an old animal to a place and hard to get used to it.
If I think back to my days with the Reporter, I've come here, I've covered Relay for Life. Obviously, the Apple Festival is a staple, and so many other events. Why is it so important for you to give back to the community in so many ways beyond just, giving the property up for a week?
Because we've been blessed with good health, all of us, and we've done well. So, and the only way you did well was from the people coming to you. So we just kept working on what do we think they need? Do they need this or do they need that? Like right now, we're selling canned goods and stuff that we never used to sell before, and people are liking it because they don't have to go to a ways to buy it. They got it right here.
Yeah.
We try to accommodate whatever we think they need. Then we'll go at it.
I think like with the Apple Fest, for example, you brought that up. How didn't that start? It was in Ruthven and they kept growing and it was just got too big for Ruthven.
I was on the committee and I said, why don't we just move it to our place? So that's what happened. We moved it to our place and then just kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yep.
And now this past season, I'm sure they did very, very well. The weather was good. People galore. It was unbelievable.
Through the years, have you ever had an opportunity to kind of just reflect back on how it got started and kind of understand what influence that you and your family had to get where we are today? Because it's such a significant thing, not only in our community, but Ontario and Michigan.
Well, it's a matter of a whole bunch of heads together. Like there was my dad's generation, then my generation, then my son's generation, and then like Terry and Luann, his wife, they both work in the business. And then now it's Lee, my grandson, he's coming up with the new ideas, younger ideas, and it's all working.
And what's that feeling like? You mentioned the fourth generation. What's it like, being able to work this closely to your family?
Years ago, I saw some statistics that I think it said something like 95% of family business don't make it past the second generation. Now we're into the fourth. So I think we've proven that if you work together, sure you have your ups and downs, you have your bumps and highs and lows, but somehow at the end of the day, it all works out.
What's the secret? How do you make it? How do you get there? Because there's and being someone who's in a multi-generational business, I can tell you it's not easy.
Yeah.
And there are huge benefits of working with your family, and then it can also be a little bit tricky some days.
Yeah.
What was it that worked for you guys to get to where you are today?
Well, I guess if there's ever any time that we didn't agree on something, somehow before the day was over, it got fixed up. We somehow, what's it, tolerance? We learned that if you want to get ahead in life, you have to work together. Okay, and we've always had, whether it was kids, the family, we always worked together. And even though some days might have been rough, but we got through it. And it's all for the betterment of our people that come in. And we like to talk to people. I like going through it, like on a Sunday, just stop at every table and talk to people. And then when you say who you are, oh my God, like you are talking to the owner.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot of businesses where the owner's there. Yeah. Terry's here, Luann's here, and Lee, like they're here with the people, and they love that. Yeah. They feel honored that they can be right there, and the owner's right there.
Approachable.
Yeah.
Approachable.
What would you say you're proudest of about the whole organization? What's the one thing that lights that fire and you say, yeah, I'm really proud that we got to do this?
Well, the fact that people keep coming. The same people keep coming back all the time. I talked to a gentleman today. He's from India, him and his family, and he said, "We heard that Colasanti has animals. I'm so happy to come out and see animals today." And this is a grown-up. Well, I think the fact that we can walk down any street anywhere and be proud that we're here to serve the people and not to gyp them or something like that. We try to keep our prices the way they should be and the quality top notch number one. And we ask people, if you have a problem, please let us know so we can correct it. And I think that helps. They like to hear that.
You've created an environment that's that social aspect of family and life, and you share it with your family, and we share it with ours in the same respect. And I want to say, Kevin, you're not from here, but growing up in this area, every event happened at Colasanti. So you get together for a weekend meal here, and so
birthday parties.
My children have had birthday parties.
We've had weddings.
Yeah, dances as we were talking.
Banquets for the schools, like just
Which
I don't know how many free meals. Not how many free meals that I do. It's like,
but you've given back to the community as much as anybody possibly could.
Yeah,
like understanding how you've helped Kingsville grow and thrive through the years as well as an entity is enormously impactful in countless amounts of people's lives, generationally as well.
Yeah, I've had 3 generations of people come up to me and talk to me. And that's pretty nice.
Yeah,
The giving, our parents, they would be, if they could come down and talk to these kids, they would say, "I am so proud that you've carried on what we used to do," because my mother was a caterer. She cooked for the same thing, and people who were trying to raise money for the church or whatever. She would do that. She cooked for weddings. She catered weddings, but her and my dad were always there for anyone that needed anything. If they couldn't speak the language, my mother would take them to the doctor and be an interpreter. My dad would say to the neighbor, "Your tractor's broken, we'll help you." So the giving back to the community, because they were so grateful for what they had, even though they worked really hard for it, but they still appreciated it. And so that went down to the second generation. My brothers were very generous, and now to the next 2 generations are doing the same thing. The same thing. So it's our parents would be so proud to know that part of the Colasanti tradition, I guess, for lack of any other word, continues. And
Yeah, I remember my dad, we dug a deep well. Now, people don't believe in it, but this old guy had a stick made into a V. And he walked the whole farm.
Well,
with his stick.
Yeah, you gotta use cherry wood. It's the only one that works.
He gets behind the house, at the highest spot in the farm, all of a sudden the stick goes down.
Yeah.
He said, "We're gonna drill right here." We drilled 162 feet, we hit a rock. He drilled into the rock, and there's a 1.5 foot cavern of water that runs from where to where. And it turned out to be real beautiful drinking water. And the neighbors would come in to get water because their wells were going dry. And they offered to pay my dad. And he said, "No." He said, "God, give me this water. You can have all you want."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that continues right through the 4
We're
generations.
still doing it today.
Thinking about it, your parents, your mom was a caterer and your dad's a farmer. Colasanti's business is basically just exactly what they were as a couple.
Replicated right down through the generations. Yeah.
So we're still catering, we're still growing.
It's amazing.
Was there ever a time when you wanted to just stop? Like there had to have been difficulties that you know, you know what? I've done enough.
Stop. What's that
I've
word?
done enough.
Maybe it was the night that we did a catering in the bush one time. It had rained all week, and we had a catering in the bush, and there was 6 inches of water. The bride and groom, their table was in water. They were sitting in water, but not one person complained. And we had to roll our pant legs up to our knees, and we pulled it off. The food was nice and warm and hot, because one thing that a lot of caterers don't know, how to prepare food and deliver it to the spot and keep it hot. I remember a restaurant one time, he was doing the catering. His truck was 100 feet away from the back door of the building. Doors wide open. And if I ever caught any of our people doing that, there would be hell to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So the van is 10 feet from the door. We figured it's going to take so long to get there. So we're going to start cooking it now, so that when it's done, it goes in the van, bang, to our catering. So those are we don't do too much of that anymore, but that years ago, that's the way things went. But we always tried to do a very good job, so that people would come. We want them to keep coming back.
We didn't want to disappoint them either.
Yeah.
It was always a special event for them, and they just never wanted to disappoint them, you know.
What's with the fourth generation now starting to take the lead in the business? What's the advice that you've given to them?
Well, he followed, like Lee is following in his dad's footsteps. Okay, you got to put your time in, and you got to try and do good for the business and for the people as they're coming in. And if you find new things, innovative things, put them to task. Like, try them out, and if it works, fine. If it don't work, well, then we'll go to something else. So that's working. There's been quite a few different changes since Lee come in the business, and it's working. And
Be bold. Don't be scared to try something.
yeah, yep. If you think that if you think you want to try it, just go ahead and do it. If it works, fine. If it don't work, go on to something else.
There's a bit of a numbers guy. I always wonder how many people have worked here over the years. How many people have eaten here over the years? I know you can't. But if Terry, Joe, if any of you were to estimate how many people you've employed,
In our peak, it was 200 people.
200.
Before COVID.
Okay.
So 200 people worked here
Yes.
before COVID, and then
At a time.
at a time.
Yes.
And 550,000 to 600,000 people per year.
Wow.
Okay. Okay. So will the mic get those numbers? Okay, perfect.
The numbers are slightly different now after COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True, but that just
But
kind of
the
puts it
business has
into
evolved.
perspective. Okay.
Right. And I don't want to get into the whole period during COVID, but the business has evolved from what it was pre-COVID to what it is today.
Yeah.
A pivot. They had to
Yeah.
pivot like everyone else. Yeah.
And still, you know, what obviously it was a lot of and businesses all over the world had to pivot, figure something out.
It was rough, really, really rough, especially when they made to shut the restaurant down, because that was a good part of our business.
Well, and now it's getting back a little bit to the roots of what Colasanti's was, growing and serving food, and
Yeah, we're back to normal,
Back to the way it was when
the way it was before. Yeah.
we remember it. All right. You know, goats.
I could really tell you some stories, but I guess maybe I gotta.
Oh, hey. Yeah, we're not here to incriminate anybody. No.
Don't
That
get me
is-
started.
But that's a testament to the perseverance of the family and the business,
Yeah,
right? Going through that adversity, figuring out how to continue in operations without folding things up, knowing that this is the family-run business, knowing that it's a vital asset to the community because of the services that you offer and the destination that it is. So for the entirety of everyone that was involved to do that, that's got to make you feel great that, hey, through that amount of challenge and trials and tribulations where the whole world went crazy, they still made it through.
very proud. Yeah.
So
Yep.
So now we just celebrated a birthday. right? You're 29.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
4 times 29 and then some. No, 3 times.
so how often are you around the farm? You still come, once a week, twice a week? You here every
I
day?
come out every day.
Every day.
I come out first thing in the morning at 7:30. I have coffee with a bunch of the neighbor guys, and then I go back to the house till 9 o'clock. Then I come out and I go look after the produce. And today I went to Leamington to pick up some signs and did some delivery, and ended up at the doctor to find out why my butt was sore.
Everything's good?
Everything's good. I got pulled muscle.
Oh, geez.
Too late.
Maybe
Lifting
you
too much chicken.
maybe you should ask for a raise next time, right?
Yeah.
You're doing too much, right?
Yeah.
Then you
No, and yesterday I did 2 deliveries at noon, and did some other stuff with the produce. I keep busy. Then in the afternoon I'll go in the house for an hour or 2. And then,
Catch up on your soaps.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you got to keep busy. People ask me, what's your secret? Well, you get your sore ass out of bed in the morning and you go do something, especially go do something for somebody else. Then you'll survive. But if you're going to stay in bed all morning, like some guys do, you're not going to get anywhere.
It's good advice.
it's great advice.
It's not going to come to you. You got to go after it.
So, quickly about the relationship between the town of Kingsville and Colasanti's. You were a destination. You were an anchor and kind of put Kingsville on the map, right? Like, I lived in London for a time while I was a child and still knew about Colasanti's, and people would come here. What would you say that your feelings are about having that impact on our community, knowing, hey, because of what we were able to accomplish here, brought significance to your area that everybody loves?
It's a real good feeling to know that people far and wide have heard about you. No matter where I go, they all know about us, and
For good reasons.
Great reasons.
for the good reasons, yeah. And I remember going to Leamington Council one time and blasting them that I said, guys, we spend a lot of money on advertising to get people around, and when they get here, we treat them nice. But coming into Leamington with all weeds and ditches was terrible. I said, can't you guys at least go and cut the weeds down and make it look half decent? Finally got it done. Yeah.
A little bit of beautification makes everybody, that much happier.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem talking to these guys, telling what I thought of them.
Well, that's one of the benefits you get when you run a business like the one that you do,
Yeah.
right?
I also went to council one time in Leamington with a box full of, I had some whiskey, wine, produce, because they wouldn't give us, we had a small organization in Leamington for tourism, and they wouldn't help us out a bit. So I went to council one night with all this produce and stuff. I said, this is stuff that is grown on these farms, coming into Leamington on the fruit stands, and you guys don't want to help us out. So finally they kicked in. But you gotta rattle the chain a little bit.
Well, and I think that it's a struggle that still happens where, trying to balance for these towns, providing services,
Yeah.
but at the same time, being able to promote themselves to get people here. It's a difficult. It gets to be a tricky situation trying to get tourism and spending and all that stuff.
But what people like is the fact that we interact with them. I remember kids come up to me and saying, I remember when you gave me a little cactus one time. That was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I still got it.
My kids still have theirs.
They remember, yeah.
My kids still have theirs. So looking into the future, right? When the next 20 years and the family's still continuing to build and grow, what would you want see this operation eventually be.
Well, he'll still be coming out every
Of
day.
course,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. Aside from the muscle pull.
Yeah. As long as your butt allows, you'll still be your-
Yeah.
No, but back to the question.
I think still be the same Colasantis with new innovations that come along as time goes by. And I'm sure that the people that will be running it then will be doing the same job we're doing today.
It's fantastic.
I think that's what's going to happen.
It's a true testament to the Colasanti family and your kindness and generosity and the way that you approach your business and interaction within the community. And
Yeah.
you know, I think I could say it for the three of us. Thank you very much for allowing us to come in and talk to you
Our
this
pleasure.
evening and just find out a little bit more about Colasanti's and Joe and your life. Because as we've been in this community, you've come to our table and said hi when we're eating, or we see you around town, and it's always a smile and a nod. And you know, it's great to just get to know a little bit more. And I want to thank you.
I get a kick out of people asking the family, is your dad still alive?
Well, up here, yes.
Yeah.
Physically, no. Yeah. Thank you very much for taking the time tonight, and we greatly appreciate it. And
Yeah, he's a legend.
many more years
Indeed.
of success.
Yeah.
And again, remember, this is a whole family thing, eh?
Absolutely.
Has been and always will be.
Yeah, it'll stay that way.
Fantastic.
We hope so.
And we'll keep on trying to do the best that we can for the people that come in,
Absolutely.
and trying to be friendly and serving. If they ever find something wrong, we're right there to correct it.
As you have been.
And that does happen once in a while.
That's life. That's normal.
Yeah, whether it's real or not, we still got to
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.